Alrighty then. Good morning, everybody. How are we doing out there in Legoland? Jester, hello, sir. How are you today? Woof! I am sorry I am a few minutes behind due to some technical difficulties that seem to have sorted themselves out just by virtue of me clicking the same button several times until they magically worked. So, great. Axel, hello. Welcome to the stream. Today, guys, it's just going to be kind of a standard chore-filled day. As it were, we have no news, actually. So the news that I am going to be bringing about, personal news, is just that I've been thinking about some new arena teams. Want to run them by you guys after we get through the Brickspedition, and let me know what you think. And if any of you have any of the characters to make the arena teams that I think might be functional, then let me know if you're willing to try it, and if so, how they do. So, let's get into it. Collect the rewards for today. We get 5,000 coins. Tomorrow we will get 5 more Venkman tiles. Excellent. Today, let's go ahead and double check what our timed quests are, just to make sure that we don't need to be spending extra gems or extra energy in one place over the other. So we've got the Grand Champion, which is to win arena battles, and Mr. Moneybags, which is to spend money. In short, no, we can use our currency wherever we feel. So we can go in here to the heroes. Now you guys know that I have been leveling up Master Barnabas. He is at the point where, in order to continue to look for his tiles the easy way, I actually have to spend some coin and upgrade him first. And I'm not going to be doing that because my Captain Redbeard is actually really close to 7 stars. So I'm going to be saving my money to upgrade him. Look at this. 14 more tiles that I need for Captain Redbeard. That means only 5 days. 4 not counting today. What's up, Tio? How are you doing? So I'm going to be saving up my money here, which means that in order to do our Master Barnabas tiles, we're going to have to go in and grab them the old-fashioned way, go into the campaigns, go into the glyph hunt, and actually manually look for Barnabas's tiles. My game is running rather slow today. Do I have anything running in the background that I shouldn't have? Let's try closing down some extra Chrome windows for the time being, because Chrome is a giant resource hog, and see if that opens things up a little bit for us so that we can get this to run a bit more smoothly, shall we? So we're in here with Master Barnabas. We're going to be grabbing a whole bunch of his loot nodes and see how we do. Oh my goodness, this is running slowly today. Woof! Painful. We do get 1 extra Barnabas tile. What is going on here, friends? Why so slow, Gameloft? You know, the whole thing was very slow to load today, too. I don't know if it's an issue with my internet connection today or something, but unfortunately, we're just going to have to push through. Let's go back into the campaign, into the Monolith Waste. We're going to start by grabbing those chef tiles that I like so much. Our chef, getting pretty close. How many tiles do I have for chef? 81 out of 150. I'm almost done with this little farm here. And then we can talk through some of the other things coming up to see what we can get going on next. Waiting for server as this goes super slow. Woof! Guys, come on, Gameloft. What's happening here? Tio says, Bricko made a meme of the Ninjago team. What was the meme? All right, 5 more chef tiles today. That's excellent stuff. Okay, I've got to double check and see what else is running on my computer really quickly, because things is going too slow. And you guys are actually going to be here forever just sort of watching me plow through and try and figure this stuff out, which is obviously very boring. So let me see if I can take just a second and figure it out while we are here. I'm gonna have to take my Legos out of full screen mode for just a second so that I can go ahead and look at the processes running on my computer, see if I can close some of them out. Looks like Google Chrome, Streamlabs, BlueStacks, right? These are the normal ones, always running. Discord. It doesn't seem like there's anything super duper running that shouldn't be. That's weird. If I go in via a different method to try and see what's running on my computer to shut extra stuff down, everything looks like it's running the way it should be. Well, I wonder if for whatever reason my internet connection is just a little wonky today, which is a bummer. Cosmic, what's up, dude? Welcome into the stream. Oh, right, we just did Monolith Waste. We can skip over that. Let's go ahead and go into our events here. The events for today, early this morning, should provide us with a few extra Explore Aurora tiles. Very nice. Well, hopefully, that's what we're hoping for here. The locust tiles right now are also going to be relatively useful as we wait to see what this space update is going to be. All right, so let's go ahead and grab all of the tiles that we can get here. Oh, boo. Crook Chuck, we don't need Crook Chuck. Get out of here, Crook Chuck. Okay, so 2 more Explore Aurora tiles. Nice, we'll take it. You can see that Explore Aurora is ready to be upgraded. She's ready to be upgraded to 5 stars. Now again, saving all the money because we're waiting for that 7-star Redbeard to come along, which should be pretty soon. Am I excited for the Q&A tomorrow? Yes, Jester, thank you so much for reminding me. For those of you who don't know what Jester is referring to, there has been an announcement made on the Discord server that there is going to be a Q&A about the space update on the 27th, and that we should be ready for more updates about that update notification coming soon. Right now, it actually doesn't say what time that Q&A is going to be. If you guys have more information than I do about the timing of that update, please let me know, because I want to make sure not to miss the Q&A. I might actually be in the car during the Q&A. We are traveling out to my fiance's parents' house tomorrow, right after my morning stream. I think the last time they did one of these, it was at like noon or 1 in the afternoon, so I'm hoping that it's roughly the same. Close the game and restart the game. What is Humpday? So Cosmic, Humpday is just it's just a slang term for Wednesday. It just because it's right in the middle of the week, and it's like getting over the hump. Right after Wednesday, you're getting toward the weekend, so that's why Wednesday is called Hump Day. That's literally the only meaning for it. Yeah, as opposed to, I guess I forgot that Hump Day might be an American term. So for all of for those of you who watch from overseas, it might be a little strange. I didn't think about that, guys. Come over to my American slang. Hump Day it is. And then I'll say things like biscuits instead of cookies, and cheers instead of goodbye for you Brits out there. And for those of you who are German or Scandinavian or Eastern European in some way, you let me know what kind of slang you use for something, and I'll try to incorporate it just to make you feel a bit more comfortable and stop saying things like Hump Day without explaining to you what it means. Oh, I'm so sorry. I know from your perspective, I'm the one overseas. It's a good point, Axel. It's very, very true. You know what? I am actually going to take Tio's advice really quickly. I'm going to close and restart my BlueStacks application. So the screen, with the exception of my face, is going to go black for a second. Just because everything is running so incredibly slowly, I'm just going to restart the entire application here really quick. This will hopefully speed up the whole thing and give us all a much better experience going forward for the rest of the hour that we're normally doing these things. So you're just going to have to put up with me saying things like, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome. Glad you could be here. And things like this. You found a bug in bricks. Tio, please tell me more. What bug did you find in Brickspedition? And if so, let's see if we can show it off in some way. Not an exploit, I hope. Just a regular old-fashioned bug, right? And hopefully we all know the difference, yeah, between a bug and an exploit. I hope so, because if you don't, oh, you could get into trouble without really realizing that you're doing it. All right, firing our BlueStacks back up just to see if we can get this to run a little bit more quickly. Bear with me while we load back into the game and see if we can get this to run a bit more smoothly here. Bum, 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 bum. So I did bring up, or rather, Jester did bring up the Q&A. Does anybody have any information about precisely what time that Q&A is going to be running? I just did swap over to the Discord server to see if I could find that information, and it seems to be lacking over there right now. So let me know if you've got it, or if I just missed the announcement somewhere. Okay, loading at 86%. We're spinning our wheels here, guys. And this is going very, very slowly. Huh. I wonder what the issue is today. Everything else seems to be running fine. But this, for some reason, is running quite slowly. Has anybody been having issues on their end today running the program themselves? Because it seems to be taking its sweet, sweet butt time for me. All right, we're back in. Let's see if we get a little bit better experience here. Still on 0 here. The sets, we did our sets, right? We did our brick separators. Got it. If I click a go-to event on a character, it looks like, huh, interesting. Yeah, Cosmic, the lag is pretty extreme, huh? Although the quality of the stream still seems okay, but yeah, the amount of time that it is taking for all of these clicks to register and load, this is extreme. Altergeist, why don't you just get the game from the Windows Store? Wait, you mean instead of running it through BlueStacks? I've been doing it this way for so long, I didn't even know that was an option. Are you serious? Huh. I will have to look into that. That would obviously be much, much better, especially if they have a native install for this. No, to be honest with you, Cosmic, I use BlueStacks for a lot of things because I have a Windows computer, but I have an iPad at home. So the reason why I've been using BlueStacks a lot is because of the mobile portability, so that I can load games on my iPad or on my phone that I can then also play on my computer. But yeah, I had no idea that this game in particular was available like straight through the Windows Store. Interesting. That is basically the first thing that I will do after the stream today, is go and install that. I have a feeling that that will run much more smoothly and make me a lot happier. Now, back to this for a second. In the guild currency area, you guys know that I have been grabbing minor clay tiles as we try to experiment with making this fire station useful. At the moment, what I have determined is that without Officer Primo, it's basically useless, because the characters that are at our disposal who actually generate courage and have the city tag or the role model tag and can actually help along are rather weak. So you're forced to use people like Minor Clay to get the bonus grit on your team to help them make more resists, or someone like Iggy, who Theo has been sharing with us, in order to, again, give all of your characters grit up to help them resist things more often. However, the way that resist works in this game is rather unreliable. So the fire station right now is much more useful when you have characters that can generate their own courage rather than actually relying on their chance to resist, which is then coupled with a chance on resist to generate courage, right? So you get a chance on a chance. So if a character has, say, a 50% chance to resist an effect and then a 50% chance to generate courage, well, then they actually have a 25% chance, right? Because 50 times 50, to generate a stack of courage, but only when they are hit with a debuff. So if you're fighting like a castle team that doesn't put up a lot of debuffs, then the fire station is only useful if you can generate your own courage. All that said, I am going to stop farming Minor Clay for a second. I'm actually going to switch to farming Princess Storm. And this actually has to do with an arena team and a PvE team that I want to start trying out that will go over actually closer toward the end of the stream. But for now, I'm just going to let you guys know why you're going to start seeing me throw in my currency on Princess Storm tiles. I wonder if the fire station was designed to work with the characters that already generate their own courage. Yeah, Cosmic, that's what I was just getting at. If so, then they should just rework the first skill. I actually have some ideas for how they should rework the first skill anyway, if I'm being completely honest. I think that because of the way that resist works, they either have to change the global mechanic for the entire game about how resist works in order to make it useful, which seems like a lot of work, or, as you just mentioned, change the first skill for the fire station. And I think in this case, changing the first skill for the fire station is going to be a lot easier. So right now, it gives you that chance to gain a courage when you resist. Wow, the lag today is just absolutely incredible. But I'll talk through it, I suppose. So if they were to change the first skill on the fire station to be something like characters have a 100% chance to gain a stack of courage when they resist an effect, that might be a big enough change on its own in order to make it useful. Additionally, they could change it so that it says like all city characters enter combat with 1 stack of courage, and role model heroes enter combat with an extra stack of courage or something like that, and then keep the chance to generate courage on a resist the way that it is. Right? Makes sense? Either way, that guarantees that you're actually getting some of the benefit, at the very least, of the set. Even if they don't generate any extra courage for the whole fight, at least they got that 1 or 2 to begin with, right? That's an excellent, I think that would be an excellent solution. And also, it might actually help us to really test it, right? Because also then you have the 4th ability of the fire station, which only gives a benefit if a character dies, 1, and 2, if when they died they had stacks of courage on them. So there's a whole bunch of things that have to go right in order for the fire station to be useful. And until that happens, it's practically impossible to test it out and see if it's useful at all. All right, so here we are in the arena. Going through, we got kicked back to 61 overnight. That's all right. Where we're going through now and figuring out where we're going to battle first. This 53 team, Stalwart Saucer Seafarer. This looks like a pretty good one to go at. We have Master Burnabas is going to be our first target because he taunts so fast that we're going to target him at the beginning. Now let's see if this lag carries through into the actual battles. That would be a big bummer if it did, because that's going to seriously impact the length of time that it takes for all these battles to run. Look at this, getting stuck at 77%. Whoo! This is painful, guys. All right, The only thing I can think is there's something running in the background of my computer that I just can't find right now. But let's see. Going in for Master Burnibus over here. Oh my god, it is taking forever to register all of my clicks. We are going to focus on Master Burnibus to begin with, and just get him down to get rid of all of his taunting and countering and all that kind of jazz. Now, we're going to come in with Redbeard and actually use our Lucy on Valiant to stun him for the turn. The hope here being that this will give us an extra round to then try and get Redbeard out of the picture before we get back around to Valiant doing his taunt. And we got lucky. Our Redbeard had all of his extra attacks in there. We did then lose him, but I think it might be a little too late, right? Because I think the damage here has already been done. We're actually going to put this on auto battle now, because what we're able to do is going to basically be predetermined by the game. We have to fight Valiant until his taunt wears off. Once his taunt is gone, it doesn't really matter if we kill Argenta or Cookbart first. So whoever it targets after Valiant is out is just going to be the next person that we target. In the meantime, the frame rate right now just looks abysmal. Woo! Okay, getting down to it. And Cookbart is out. We win that arena battle, and now we have to come over into the Brickspedition. I believe that should be all of the quests for today, with the exception of possibly 1 or 2 runs in the Glyph Hunt, coupled with with another battle in the arena. But let's come out and double check on all the quests. Okay, first off, time quest. I should have gotten another arena win. I did. Thank you much. What do you think we should expect from the space update? Jester Gogo asks. I think we should expect a Kelvin rework. I think that she will end up coming into the game relatively overpowered, but there's a chance now that after they do this retune, that she will only be overpowered under certain circumstances. I think that they will probably give her more synergy with Commander Cold. After all, they are from the same Lego set, so that would make a lot of sense. I think there's also a possibility, though a much smaller possibility, that we will also get word of a Blacktron Dwayne rework as part of this whole thing. And I think we might get an announcement about Gorewell availability. Whether or not they increase Gorewell's availability, I don't know. But I think we will get an announcement about whether or not she will become more available. For example, are they planning to put her in a master event or a brick pace or something that they are planning to send our way as part of the whole space rework? I also expect people to ask lots of questions about raids, even though they've been very, very clear that those will be coming on a separate update. Now, that's to be expected because all of these Q&As generally start relatively on point, but within about 15 minutes, people start asking incredibly asinine questions, which is a problem for those people who are actually there for whatever it was that the announcement was supposed to take care of. But what can you do? So that's what I would expect. What are you expecting from the Q&A? And more specifically, what do you want to see in the Q&A? What questions are you hoping that they answer? What are the things that are unknown to you that you really want them to improve upon? That's what I would like to know. Okay, let's see. I have my graphics settings set down for performance instead of quality. Yeah, there's about as much as I can possibly do about this right now. I have a feeling that my computer is actually having a memory leak somewhere because of all of the Photoshop work that I was doing yesterday, because Photoshop and Adobe leave memory leaks in their programs all over the place. And I did not restart my computer before starting the stream today, so that might be on me, honestly. But yes, Jester, tell me what you are looking for. And let's go from there, sir. Do 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 do. Alrighty here. Okay. I want to see... Sorry, I started pulling up my task manager again to see if I can turn off a whole bunch of background processes that might be affecting my gameplay. But again, I'm just not seeing a whole lot of stuff going on, which is a big problem, man. Alrighty. Well, we're back here in the Brickspedition, and what do they give for us? Lloyd comes first. There's nothing we can do about that. He puts on the stealth over all of the other characters, having us go around. We do have clumsy on Darwin, but that is overruled by the sheer amount of debuffs that are on the opposing Lloyd. So he will hit when he otherwise wouldn't. We do have a couple of debuffs I could clear, but I would rather start locking out Magisto, so we are going to go there. All right, Magisto is still under stealth. Everybody else starts coming out of stealth. It looks like we are going to need to get that heal off on Redbeard before he gets knocked asunder right at the beginning. All right, Magisto is out of stealth. We are going to switch over to start attacking him once again. Let's get him out of this battle, if you please. Thank you very, very much. Now we can take down... Oh, well, I probably should be focusing on the captain, but Chicken was already relatively low. So we took him out first instead. Oof. Come on, guys. Let's do this. Okay. Jester says, I want to know from the Q&A about Gorwell and some new space characters and the rework on arena payouts. Interesting. So what are you under the impression that they are actually going to do about arena payouts? I know that a bunch of people have been complaining about the way the arena works in general. I know that there are actually several ways that they can fix things and change things too. So I will be interested to see what they do about that, but I'm also not sure when they would make those changes because they are very, very low on their priority totem pole right now. At least that's how it seems. Give me 1 second. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. Give me 1 second here, guys. Yes, okay. Here we go. So we need to go to... Okay. Okay. Interesting. I'm looking at ways to clear up some RAM on my computer right now. The hard part is having to do it without shutting down the whole stream. I don't know how likely that is to happen, unfortunately. Update software, clear my cache. That would be my computer cache. Remove browser extensions. Track memory. Clear up processes. That was the stuff that I was trying to do before. So Jester, excited for the event calendar. Yeah, a lot of people have been excited for the event calendar. That's been a big up and coming thing that everybody wants to get a lot more information about. I think it'll be great once they do have an event calendar. I still wonder when we're actually going to get that, because I feel like the Gameloft team has yet to actually create a good cadence for themselves to follow. So it's almost impossible to release a calendar if you're unsure what your actual schedule is going to be. You know what I mean? So I'm sure they have an ideal schedule in mind. I just don't think they have it in place. So actually making comments on it then, it's going to be a little difficult. Catch my drift? Okay, I gotta go in here and just turn some stuff off. But what am I gonna turn off, guys? Alright, this looks like it's going to be a relatively easy fight. I'm gonna switch it over to auto battle here for a second. And we are going to get out of this run relatively unscathed, so it would seem. Alrighty. Coming back into our Brickspedition map. When can we expect a re-one for Wu, Primo, Jay, and Basil? Well, remember that Basil and Jay were brick pace events, so those will be recurring more often than Wu and Primo. Primo, I still think that the team is judging the political landscape before they release that officer into the game. So the answer for Primo is who knows, actually. But my guess is that it will be after the raid release, because right now they're focusing on space, and then they're going to focus on the raids, so it seems, and then I think they might focus on re-releasing master content. Wu is a character that has not received any real backlash, except for the fact that the only people who could get him were basically whales at the beginning. He does require at least a 5-star pirate team, which admittedly a lot of people have. But at the time that he was first released, the game was still new enough that despite the fact that there were a lot of people that were actually farming pirates, there were actually very few people who actually had a 5-star pirate team. I think now pretty much everybody has a 5-star pirate team, so you'll see once they release the Wu event that there will be a lot more Wus in the game. I think from their perspective, that actually gives them more reason to release the Wu event next, because they've been getting a lot of backlash from folks, and I think it's really giving people that Wu character essentially for free, now that we know that all it takes is for you to have those 5-star pirates. And again, since most people have those 5-star pirates now, I think it's basically like giving people a really powerful character for free. So I would expect to see the Wu event come back relatively soon. They're having the Slimer Master event that still is not over yet. So I think you could probably still bet on at least 3 weeks to a month before another master event comes out, because I don't think they want to always have a master event running. Though, in time, once they release enough characters into the game, it actually might be completely feasible for them to always have one master event up and running. I mean, imagine if they have like 12 to 15 characters that are only released through the master event cadence, right? Then you could have one per week for an entire week and still be on a 4 to 6 month master release cadence. So that would be my guess, is that we will see Wu come back in maybe a month or so, that we'll see Primo come back probably after that, because I think that in order to get him, everybody needs to have enough castle characters, which means they need to give us enough lead time to start improving our castle team. They're also going to want to start releasing bundles for castle characters in anticipation of the Primo event. And despite the fact that the prices that they have for the in-game purchases are way too high, they still don't want to inundate you with purchases, because they still do need to be specific enough that you can actually, focus a bit, right? So I think we'll see Primo. I do not think we will see Primo within the next month window. I think maybe in 2 months. It'll depend, I think, heavily on what they decide to do about raids and how long it takes for those to come out. And Jay and Basil, we will probably see Basil. Well, let's see. The thing about Jay is everybody knows what a powerhouse Jay is. His ability to string together attacks is similar to the way that Redbeard can string together attacks. It's heavily RNG dependent, but he does a lot of damage. And I think, generally speaking, he's a character that everybody likes. Basil, on the other hand, is a character that everybody wants to like, but when he was released, it seemed like he was locked behind a pretty massive paywall that upset a lot of people, that I believe the developers misunderstood. And to be more specific, I think that Basil being released through a brick pace event, similar to other characters like Jay, received a lot of backlash because the team he works well with was part of this spooky update that they were pushing forward. But getting a spooky team is completely useless without Willa. Willa is only achievable through master currency, and the only people who have access to enough master currency to make her worth farming are whales. So even though Basil directly was available, his usefulness was locked behind this pretty heavy paywall that people really did not appreciate. Jay, on the other hand, was locked behind less, right? The ninjas in general are more accessible than the spooky characters, for one thing. For another thing, a bunch of people already have them, and we had already been seeing them in the game a bit more. So adding Jay onto your team required you to use teammates that you might have already had, and if you didn't have them, you could go and get them. If you didn't have them, you might still want to use Jay because he's still pretty strong on his own. So my expectation is that, purely based on the actual release schedule of these characters, we'll probably see Jay before Basil. But I do think that when we do ultimately see Basil again, that the game creators will want to do a bit more work to make sure that he is couched correctly behind a spooky team that's actually accessible. Otherwise, they're just going to run another Basil Brick Pace event, and we're still not going to see any Basils in the game. One of the things that the developers have actually commented on is the fact that, or rather A-Box made some comments about this, is that they are dissatisfied with the rate at which their updated and upgraded characters have been entering the meta. Specifically, they made reference to, or he made reference to, the fact that after they did this... Hold on a second. – Did I just fix my problem? I sure did. So for those of you paying attention at home to all of the lag that's been on the game, you'll notice that it has magically just disappeared. And I have sidetracked this whole discussion because I figured out what the problem was. The problem was I didn't have my computer plugged in. So I was trying to do all this stuff off of battery power. And when it runs off of battery power, it has severe limitations. Oh my goodness, Matt! What are you doing? Such a silly overlook. But I digress. I'm still going to take Cosmic's suggestion and look for the native version of this game in the Windows Store. I think that would be very, very smart. But yeah, the quality, the lag, all that kind of stuff should be greatly improved now. Also, while I was talking about all this and focusing on all this, they killed my team and I wasn't really paying attention, so we're gonna redo that one. Jester, what was I talking about? Basil, the Basil release. So yeah, I think before so Abox was saying that they have been relatively dissatisfied with the rate at which new characters enter the meta. They release, for example, the Basil and Willa rework, and we see them in like one arena team. And that is upsetting to the creators because they have done all of this work to retune all of these heroes only to see that nobody's using them. Now, of course, they only have themselves to blame because if you make a character unfarmable, then make an update to that character but still deny us the ability to get that character, then it's kind of hard to be surprised when nobody has that character. Catch my drift here? It's not rocket science. So I think it'll be interesting if they ever bring back Basil, which they will, to see if that is accompanied with a larger spooky release and possibly a rework to several of the campaign nodes, maybe even a couple of the monolith nodes, to add characters into places where they weren't before, or make certain spooky characters just more farmable in general. We have seen that they had a little bit more success with Vankman in particular. He has actually started to appear in several high-level arena teams purely because of how much damage he does and his ability to pull heroes to assist him. The fact that he has Ghostbuster synergy has been completely irrelevant to him as a character because nobody's actually using a Ghostbuster team. I've seen a couple of people that have been using Vankman and Egon or Vankman and Ray, but those teams are relatively weak. So I hope that answered the question that you're looking for with way too much extra information. My apologies. Whew. Okay, that was quite the monologue. What else do we want to know? What else do we want to know from the Q&A? What do you guys have resting in your brains that you want people to answer for you? I, for one, there's a tough team coming up. I am really excited about the prospect of the raids coming out. More excited, actually, than I am about the space rework. So I have a lot of things that I would like to know about raids. I know that the Q&A coming up, though, is specifically about space. So for those of you that are tuned in, you will see me asking a relatively small number of questions because I think it's a little bit strange to do a Q&A about the space update like a week or two before the space update comes out, where the update itself will probably answer more than 50% of the questions that people might have. If they were to do this Q&A like 2 weeks ago in anticipation of the space rework, then people might have been able to do something with the information. But I hope that makes sense, right? That all of the information about the space team that they are likely to give us during the Q&A will amount to one basic question, which is, should I be farming the space team? Right? Every question that people answer, is Kelvin going to get an ultimate? I guarantee you people are going to ask that question like 84,000 times. Is Gorwell going to be coming out, and will she be farmable? Are there going to be more Blacktron characters coming out in the future? Are there going to be more classic space characters coming out in the future? I mean, we can all basically predict every single question that's going to be asked, right? This is going to be no surprise to any of us. But the real question then is, but what should I be doing now? Ultimately, that's what all of the questions boil down to. And if the answer is, well, I should be farming space, then this Q&A should have happened like 2 or 3 weeks ago to give people more time to actually start farming space. As it is now, they're going to release a space update, and people are going to feel like they're behind because they waited too long to actually make the announcement. Adam, my question is whether TQs get fixed before everyone gets fed up and leave. TQs. Oh, time quest, Adam. Yes, there have been a lot of people expressing a lot of frustration with the timed quests. My assumption as a designer and developer myself is that they have created a pseudo-random algorithm and just put basically a whole bunch of time quests. What's the easiest way to describe this? I don't know whether or not you are a designer or a developer for computer systems in any way. So, assuming that you're not, imagine that you take a whole bunch of fruit, one piece each of a whole bunch of different fruits, and you put them in a bucket, and then you reach in blind and just pull out a fruit, and you're like, that's the fruit I'm gonna eat today. It feels like with the time quests that they have essentially programmed a whole bunch of different fruits and put them into a proverbial bucket, and then as soon as we're finished eating one, so to speak, the timer runs out, then the next day it'll grab one and throw it up there. And the only thing that they seem to actually be programming right now are the rewards, right? Otherwise there'd be no way for it to just keep pulling Ghostbuster tiles over and over and over again. I think that the biggest problem with the time quests has to do with actually a number of other things that people are hoping to get answers to. The biggest one being the event calendar. And if time quests are going to continue to be random, what we can expect based on that. I mean, if you get Mr. Moneybags, for example, which is running right now, and the Mr. Moneybags event right now has like a 3-day timer with an ultimate reward given after you've spent 4 million in-game currency. I mean, that's insane. Unless you pay for it, it is literally impossible for you to actually make 4 million coins in 3 days, which means you're stuck with always saving 4 million coins in your bank in anticipation of this timed quest coming out, given that you don't know when it's going to happen, but then also figuring out whether or not the rewards are worth it when it does come out. And that means that instead of leveling up characters and improving your squad, you are just waiting time and time again for this event to happen, and then you're only upgrading your characters when the event happens, right? I think that's actually the biggest issue with the time quest so far, seems to be the Moneybags event in particular. They could probably solve it, honestly, by simply just removing that one-time quest, or cut down the requirement of it, right? I think that would be a big one. Jester, shouldn't we get patch notes next week? Theoretically, yes, but historically they've been pretty bad about handing out patch notes when we expect them to, so don't hold your breath on that one, even though, yeah, technically we should be. In the Ghostbusters update, they released patch notes the week after the Q&A. Correct. We will see what happens with it. I think in this case, it would be pretty smart for them to release patch notes outlining the changes that are going to be coming to the space team I mean, again, just sooner rather than later. The longer they take to release those, the more frustrated people are going to get when they realize that they didn't have enough time to farm them all. If that makes sense. But why did they put in rotten fruit? Adam, that is an excellent use of the analogy. I think the issue here would be like, in Gameloft's defense, they released a new mechanic into the game to try to incentivize people to play more. First off, what we have to realize is that is a good thing. Now, unfortunately, it incentivized people to play in the wrong way and for the wrong reason. Because what people are really clamoring for is not more rewards, it's more content, right? People want to start playing the game more because there's more to do, not because there's just more rewards to get from doing the same thing over and over and over again, right? That's what everybody's been talking about for the most part. So, why did they put in rotten fruit? I would say, obviously, they didn't know that it was rotten when they put it in. They thought that it was a good idea. Their thoughts were, unfortunately, wrong in most people's opinions. But I do genuinely feel like they came from a decent place, which is it's taking us a long time to release more content. So in the meantime, what we want to do is release more rewards for the content that exists, because to be completely honest with you, it is infinitely easier to program that than it is to program new content. And that's like, honestly, that's the major thing that you're seeing right there, is they were like, it's going to take us forever to release new content, but we can release new rewards in like a day. So let's at least put that in there to sort of stem the flow, as it were. So that's what that is. And I think that we just have to continue to give them feedback and constructive feedback. So on the Discord server, where they have the suggestions and all this kind of stuff, I think it's very, very important that we provide suggestions on ways that they can make the game better, rather than just complaints about what we don't like. Otherwise, they're going to have to continue to guess what we think would improve the game. And to the best of our ability, we want to stop them from guessing. If we know that it would be better to have more content, then stop complaining about the content that already exists and continue to push for new content in your suggestions. Saying things like, listen, Brickspedition has some issues and we can talk about that, but the major issue is we need more content. We need raids. If you had literally the entire community saying, I don't care about your Ghostbusters, I just want raids. I don't care about your whatever's going to be next, Lego Harry Potter or something like that they throw in. I don't care about that, I want raids. And everybody was focusing on the same thing, to make the message clear and specific from as much of the community as possible, then actually we would see change a lot more quickly. But people spend a lot of time just complaining without actually offering ways to improve. I think I diverted from the point there for a second, but I believe I answered your question toward the beginning. Let me know if it still doesn't make any sense. Axel, Waif was on holiday last week. Yes, Axel, that is very, very true. He was never the fastest, so I doubt that we will have patch notes tomorrow. I can almost guarantee you we will not have patch notes tomorrow. They, as was mentioned earlier by, who was it, Jester? Adam? Somebody referenced earlier the fact that the way they did it previously, let's see, was that they released their patch notes. Oh yeah, Jester. That they last time they did the Ghostbusters patch notes the week after the Q&A. I would expect basically the same thing to happen this time. Okay, what's going on here? So we need to take down the Yuppie to prevent the resurrection. And luckily, we have the ability to target the Yuppie essentially for free or rather without Redbeard getting his counterattacks in there. So here's what we're going to be focusing on now. I need to be very careful about who's going next. So we're going to smash the Yuppie, which is going to cause Scarlet to taunt. I'm going to take this heal on my Redbeard, and I am going to try to lock Scarlet out of her abilities. We do. Brilliant. Now I get my Scarlet. I do not need to take down her taunt, nor do I need to do my little healy heal. So I'm just going to do a basic attack against her. That puts the Yuppie back in my available targets list. The hiker is going to get his heal off. Okay. We're going to continue to use a basic attack against the Yuppie. Oh, that's a bummer. Unfortunately, we do not get an assist from Argenta, which is actually kind of a big bummer. But the Yuppie should have already healed. Now, that means that when Redbeard does his cleanse, which he's probably about to do, the Yuppie should not heal at all, which should be good. It will make it him available for us to fight right after this. So we're going to do a basic attack on Scarlet again. Brilliant. Redbeard did exactly as we expected him to. I am actually now going to take the opportunity to get the double taunt on Scarlet. Then immediately wiped from their Scarlet. That is actually a pretty huge bummer. So let's take down the Yuppie while we can. Ooh, that dodge. Oh, that dodge could have been killer for us. Come on, I just need the hit. Take him down, please. Thank you. Okay, now we can start things again sort of the old-fashioned way. We're going to try to get Redbeard down. We need to be very careful to get him down around the Scarlet taunts. So let me focus on this for another second, and then I will get back to answering as many of your questions as I possibly can here about my expectations from all of the stuff coming up. Now, who do I want to hit Redbeard with? I think I want to hit, I want to hit Redbeard with my Darwin because of the guaranteed crit coming his way, which means that we need to focus on somebody else. Oh! Actually, that's all right, because our Redbeard just went off and took down basically everybody else on their team. Well, and by basically everyone else on their team, I mean their Redbeard, which is kind of the only thing we care about at this point. Yes, I should have my Salty Seas available on my next turn. All I need to do is have all of my characters survive through one more of Hank's attacks. We get it. Fantastic. I'm going to throw this heal up on Argenta. Now, we're going to take out Hank. Boom. I am going to use this Salty Seas to get that heal up because everyone on their team's getting low. It'll also give me another turn to get to the Hiker's healing, which is definitely something we want to try to get to the best of our ability. But the question is, Yes, brilliant. Got it. Oh, this fight went about as well as we could have hoped. Excellent. Yes, Axel, getting back to your comment about Waif being on holiday, we're also expecting an update about the content creator program that was starting to be formed several months ago. My hope is that when he gets back from his vacation, that we will actually receive those updates. Everybody's waiting for them. Everybody, I think, is looking forward to them, finding out who in the community is going to be officially recognized by the game devs as some sort of, I don't know, trustworthy authority on all things Lego related. So that should be nice. Yannick finished Mr. Moneybags event because I had luck and got 2 million coins plus 1,300 gems saved from earlier. So Yannick, yeah, that brings up a really good point, especially about that Moneybags timed quest, which is, as you just mentioned, in your own words, you got lucky to complete it. And I think that one of the things that they really need to do about the time quests to really improve them is actually to figure out what they're really for. If the main goal of the time quests is to reward people for playing the game, then every single time quest should be completable just by playing the game. You shouldn't have to get lucky to have saved up a whole bunch of resources in anticipation of money bags coming out. See what I mean there? Now, if they want the time quests to be an extra reward for those players who are going above and beyond the Call of Duty, whatever that Call of Duty may be, then that's a different issue. And they simply need to make that clear. Listen, the time quests are going to come out, and they are going to give players rewards for simply playing the game, but they're going to give high-level rewards for people who spend a little bit of money, or spend a little bit of extra time, or are willing to do some extra theory crafting to complete these time quests in a special sort of way. They have talked about in the future releasing time quests that actually have more specifications, more restrictions, like fight this many battles using a castle team, or fight this many battles using a pirate team. They might do things like beat this many hard missions or whatever else, but they are looking at ways to actually expand the purpose, functionality, etc., of timed quests. I think over time we're only going to see them get better, which is a good thing to note, something I'm looking forward to. Adam, thanks for being objective and giving the dev side. You're welcome, dude. I think that it's very important, since we spend our time, our energy, we derive entertainment from this thing, and some of us spend money. Some of us spend a lot of money, and some of us spend a very small amount of money. Some of us don't spend any money at all. But I think it's important to recognize that every single one of us has a valid opinion coming from somewhere. Your life experience, maybe. But if you have an issue, then you have an issue. And it's worth understanding what that issue is, and it's also worth understanding and mitigating expectations. And about giving the devs point of view on a lot of this kind of stuff, I think so far Gameloft has done a lot right. I also think they've done a lot wrong, and I'll be the first person to actually acknowledge all that stuff. Also, I didn't miss the fact that their highwayman just totally nuked my hiker. But I digress. But I think it's very important, right? We recognize, okay, this is what the devs did. I think this is what the purpose is, or at least this is what I understand the purpose to be. So now that I have an understanding of your purpose, I can respond to it. If they release time quests, for example, and they said in some sort of statement, hey guys, we are releasing these time quests. They are a bonus intended to give greater rewards to all of the people in our game who spend more than $100 per month. Then people would complain out the wazoo about the fact that they're releasing rewards for people who spend more than $100 per month. But you'd stop complaining about whether or not the time quests themselves were good or valid, because you'd go, oh, well, these aren't for me anyway. So mitigate my expectations so I know whether or not I even need to comment on this. I think that it's very, very important to try and understand where the devs are coming from, how a lot of the sausage is made, as it were, especially if we're going to comment on the flavor of it, right? In the data mines, there are 2 new space characters, Blacktron Quincy and Black Spaceman Jen Slate. So 2 new space characters. Possibly, I've been hearing a lot about the Blacktron Quincy character possibly being fake, as it were. I it's unclear to me where those particular opinions are coming from. More Blacktron characters has been a very, very big focus of people calling for the space rework, more so than any other group, I think. Ice Station Odyssey, Classic Space, Blacktron, the Aliens, of all of these, Blacktron has been the one that we've seen the most calling for amongst the community, so it doesn't surprise me at all that they're planning to release at least 2 more of those characters. What they should really do is release like 5 characters. And I mean, we have 2 completely different sets of pirates. Now, admittedly, the Imperials are not farmable yet, not really in the game, but they do exist. We can see them on our character chart. At some point, they will probably be released. There should be at least 2 full space squads. There should be at least 2 full city squads. Well, at least 2 full city squads that make sense. There's already enough characters to kind of make 2 full city squads, but they don't really make sense. Anyway, really quick, let's go over what we get for Brickspedition next week. All heroes gain critical chance up for 2 turns. Great. All heroes gain 15% attack for the entire battle. Fantastic. And all heroes gain 1 stack of prepared at the start of battle. Excellent. We're going to have a lot of hard nukes at the beginning of tomorrow's Brickspedition, which is always a good one. Let's go ahead and come in over here, finish out this stream with our second arena battle of the day. I will try to get these down to an auto-battleable state, and then go in and answer some of the last of the questions that you guys have posed in the stream this morning. Looks like the only things we're being shown are this double tank pirate team or this woo team. I'm seeing 44 and 46. What's 45? You just not going to show me what rank 45 is? 46, 44, 44. Come on, show me rank 45. Why you not show me 45, bruh? I want to see what you got for me. Well, actually, I can do it in the leaderboards now, right? And see who 45 would be, see if it's even worth it. Yeah, so this rank 45 team, that's the team I want to see. Show it to me in my refresh, fool. Come on, algorithm. Why are you constantly skipping 45? I've seen literally everything between 44 and 51, except 45. You're just not going to let me fight him. Oh, you know what? That person might be in the middle of a battle. That might be why I don't see him right now. So, then we have a question. Do we do this 44 team with this 7-star Scarlet, 7-star Hank with Woo? Ugh, what a terrible team. Or do we come for this 46 team with the double tank, the easier defeatable Scarlet? Damage is lower. All right, we're going to try team number 46. Now, there are 2 tanks on their team. This is going to be a bit of a struggle because we just have to hammer away at the tanks all day. If we start by trying to skip the tanks, say, and go for what's his name, Redbeard, and try to attack around the tanks, we're going to get stuck. Because once one tank starts to taunt, we're going to get stuck behind the tank wall. So what we actually need to do is just hammer through all of the tankety tanks. So, okay. We're going to start with Valiant. And then, before getting down to below half, what we want to do is try to lock Redbeard out of his abilities. Now we're doing a lot of damage right now. So we need to spread this around, and we need the chance to lock him out. Yes, great. So we've locked Redbeard out of his cleanse. That's been the important one right now. We're going to grab some extra damage for a couple of turns. Their Valiant is going to heal. Happens. Ooh, we actually got a very useful dodge out of our Darwin. Now we're going to come in here and hammer down on Valiant. We know that this is going to put the taunt up on Scarlet, but luckily we are going to prevent the salty seas. Additionally, we've already gotten the cook Bart to do his heal, which means, boom, after Scarlet is done with her turn, this will leave their Valiant available for death. Now, we do target Hank kind of by accident in order to get him below 50%. I'm going to go ahead and do this AoE, even though it will definitely get the counter from Redbeard, because now I really want to be spreading damage around as much as I possibly can in order to prevent their cook Bart from single-handedly bringing people up over and over and over again. Additionally, we have their Hank in a very low spot. Excellent. We'll see if we can take him out really quickly, because he will deal the most damage, especially since their Redbeard just used his ultimate. So we know that that is off the table from their Redbeard for a minute. Aha, perfect. Their cook Bart uses his heal on himself, leaving the Redbeard nice and vulnerable for us. He is down. Down to Funky Town. And now we can just auto battle this out while we do the rest of the couple of attacks to cook Bart. So, let me come over here to your questions over here for a second. Who do you think will be the space character who will get a new ultimate besides Locust? Jester. I think 0 new space characters will get a new ultimate. We already have Locust and Gorwell who have ultimates. Now, I know that Gorwell is not currently farmable. However, let's look at the space characters really fast. There are only 7 space characters in the game right now. 2 of them have ultimates, and those are Locust and Gorwell. I would expect them to make Gorwell farmable before actually adding an ultimate to any of the characters that already exist. Because if they did, then out of 7 characters, you'd have 3 ultimates. Compare that, I should say, to any other group. Let's go into the castle, and you can see that Willa has an ultimate, and Basil has an ultimate. Hold on a second. And Magisto has an ultimate on this team. Now, if you subtract Willa, based on the fact that she's not farmable either, then you're left with 9 characters and 2 ultimates on this team. Okay, now let's look at the pirates. You've got Captain Redbeard, who has an ultimate, and I believe Admiral Nonsuch has an ultimate, but basically you can discount all the Imperials because they're not even really in the game at all. So all the characters that you can farm, even if you include the ability to farm via spending gems, means that there are 8 pirates, and of those 8 pirates, there is only 1 ultimate ability. If you go into the city characters, and you'll see a pattern here, we have Officer Primo has an ultimate ability, and that's it. And he's not even farmable. He's not even in the game, really. The city characters have 0 ultimates. If they were to add another ultimate to the space team, it would just simply be too many ultimates in one group, in my opinion. I think it'd be very cool if there were more ultimates in these different groups, but it would have to really, really depend on what that ultimate was. Otherwise, you could have a very, very overpowered group that had a just built-in synergy without actually having to really work for it or figure it out. And I think that's really what we'd be looking at here. I mean, the ninja team, what happened to you, Naya? Anyway, even the ninja team, Master Wu has an ultimate, but only if you've unlocked him. Garmadon doesn't have an ultimate. Yeah. So my expectation is that 0 space characters will actually receive an ultimate because it would just make them have too many ultimates. All right, guys, it is 10:20. My apologies for the late start here, getting figured out with whatever was happening with my hardware, and then it just turns out I didn't have my computer plugged in. So thanks, Matt. That's 100% on me. But thank you guys for sticking it out with me today. I will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m., same time, to do basically the same thing. Let's answer some questions. Let's see if we have more speculation about the Q&A, maybe a bit more information to go on as the Q&A will actually take place tomorrow, after which we will discuss it on my stream on Saturday, again at 9 a.m. So until then, I hope that you guys have an excellent hump day. For those of you who are not American, which is basically all of you, hump day means Wednesday. Glad you understand that now. All right, folks, I'm signing off. I got to go to my real job. Later.